praying for his young family. One person I spoke to said, he just became a father not too recently. So that's one of the things that I think people are just grasping onto, the fact that they've seen this guy grow up, right? This is not somebody that had been around politics in a big way before Donald Trump. You could argue their stars have risen together.
Talk to us more about Charlie Kirk and when he co-founded his organization and how the president felt about this organization and brought it into his orbit, and just the impact that it's made on the conservative world, in particular younger people, like what we're seeing here at the university. I mean, there was a reason he chose to take this tour on and go to colleges and university campuses.
Yeah, and you have to note that this organization in some ways has helped Donald Trump expand his base. Think about the way Donald Trump changed his campaign this last cycle, right? Donald Trump's a guy that grew up in old school media. Kirk and other people like him really expanded Donald Trump's horizons, along with his youngest son, Barron Trump, in this past election, to talk to podcasters, talk to social media, talk to young people in different venues, right? Kirk was part of this small team, along with the eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., that was really exposing Donald Trump to these folks. I think also the fact that Kirk had one of the starring roles in the Republican National Convention last summer speaks to the point that this is a guy that is entering center stage for young conservatives, really pulling them into the party, right? The GOP was the grand old party. Kirk was really injecting youth into this party, into Donald Trump's orbit. And I think seeing the fact, one of our colleagues mentioned this earlier in the air with you, Kira, that Charlie Trump was already at the White House doing events with Donald Trump while he was back in office. I mean, to see the statements that have already come out, it just shows how close of a relationship this was. But I can tell you from my sources, and I saw it myself with my own two eyes, the night J.D. Vance accepted the Republican nomination last July, was this small group of Donald Trump Jr., J.D. Vance, along with Charlie Kirk, and just a few other aides. This was the team. This was this core group of guys that made it happen for J.D. Vance, and ultimately was part of the team that made it successful last November for Donald Trump.
And Charlie Kirk's organization, Trimpoint USA, putting out this statement. Now this is an ongoing situation. We can confirm that Charlie Kirk has been shot. He is in the hospital. We are praying for him at this time. Let's bring in Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky. Are we learning anything more about motive, the suspect, or Charlie Kirk's condition?
Nothing specific about motive or Kirk's condition, Kira, but according to eyewitnesses, the suspect who was taken into custody by police was overheard shouting, "I do it again." I've been speaking with law enforcement officials who, like we have been watching some of the horrifying video of an event that shows hundreds of people gathered at an outdoor courtyard where Charlie Kirk was speaking beneath a tent when they heard a single shot. One law enforcement official who watched the video said it appears to have been a high-caliber weapon at a high velocity, a very difficult injury, and we know that eyewitnesses have described the severity of the injury that they said they witnessed after the single shot rang out and Charlie Kirk went down, Kira.
We know now that the campus has been closed. By the way, you're looking at an image, and we froze it. We do have video of the shot that rang out, the video that was rolling here. Someone in the crowd took this. We have gained access to it, but we're going to keep that in frozen mode because it's the moment that shot was fired and hit what we are told Charlie Kirk in the neck. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas, as we see these last images before Charlie Kirk was shot. We do know the campus has been closed down. Classes have been canceled until further notice. Police, ATF, the FBI, all on the scene now, according to AG Pam Bondi. What more are you learning, Pierre Thomas, there at DOJ?
Well, I spoke to a senior law enforcement official just a moment ago who said they're all waiting for an update on his condition. They all know that he is in the hospital. They're waiting for an update on his condition. And these officials have all been reviewing this video that we have access to as well. And one official I just spoke to said that law enforcement around the country right now particularly for outdoor events involving public officials, are going to have to rethink security, especially people who might be controversial. This incident, again, has shaken official Washington, particularly the federal law enforcement officials from Bondi, the Attorney General, to the FBI Director, again, who all are in regular, constant communication with this White House in ways that some of their predecessors had not been. And these people know Mr. Kirk personally in many instances. So again, they're waiting on an update. All these sources are describing the situation as potentially grave. They're waiting just like we are to get an update. They are sending resources to try to lock down all information about the scene, interview witnesses, get whatever forensic evidence is available. All hands on deck situation. This is a top priority with the federal government right now.
Definitely all hands on deck. Former NYPD chief detective is also one of our contributors, Bob Boyce. Just to sort of parlay off of what Pierre was just saying about rethinking security, there's so many factors here, Bob, right? We are in such a tense time politically. You have Charlie Kirk, mega podcaster, huge voice, especially among young conservatives, heading out on this tour to various campuses. And then we were learning about this divided opinion according to the university's newspaper, even a petition that was circulating online. Hundreds of students asking administrators to stop Kirk from coming, and then this happens. So many agencies now involved trying to find out more about this suspect who is now in custody, a possible motive. How did that weapon get inside this big venue? We know that, Bob, it was free, first come, first served tickets. It was open to the public, not just the university students.
Yeah, that's a big problem right there, Terry. You just nailed it. These are open to outside people. And that's something you can't control. Secondly, going back to the outside venue. And a controversial person speaking in any way, with any kind of petition, any outside threats we don't know right now. You really can't have it outside. You have to have a door to control, and that's important, especially in these times. We're really at a different point in our history that is really hard to believe. But you want to control that door. This way you know who's inside, and you can walk around and see and identify anybody who's acting out of sorts. This is a big problem here, because this should have been prevented. Outside venues, and this is someone like this is a lightning rod to other people. Who's not afraid to talk about situations in our country, in our culture, our politics, is really going to generate a backlash. So that's those people in the petition, that's a clear sign right there. You really have to tap down and create a safe environment for everybody. And the outside people are just unexplicable to me. Why a university would let outside people come in and watch this on their campus. And that has to be answered.
And of course, we did receive video of the moment that shot rang out. We heard from our Aaron Katursky, Bob, that reports say that possibly that bullet hitting Charlie Kirk's neck, as our Aaron Katursky was describing, you could actually see blood pouring out. We did hear straight from Charlie Kirk's organization that he co-founded, Turning Point USA, that he is in the hospital, and they are all praying for him. Prayers coming from the President of the United States to those involved in the organization that have been on the tour with him. Aaron Katursky, anything new that you have learned as we will continue, of course, to hit the top of the hour here. We're trying to get as much information as possible about the condition of Charlie Kirk after being shot there on the university campus in Utah.
It seemed, according to eyewitness accounts and by law enforcement experts who have viewed the video, to be a very difficult injury from the single shot that struck Charlie Kirk. So everyone in the administration is sending prayers for his survival and well-being, but everyone is also braced for what could be some difficult news, Kira, because the single shot struck Charlie Kirk. Eyewitnesses said they saw a lot of blood coming from him, and then they all scattered. Now the university is urging everyone to leave campus to allow police to conduct the investigation. The suspect that was taken into custody, according to eyewitness accounts, was heard screaming, "I do it again," described as an older male wearing a blue shirt, someone who has white hair, but we've heard nothing else about the suspect, if it is indeed him himself or his condition. So far, the local police have said nothing. It's only the university that's now urging everyone to clear out of campus, Kira.
Well, talking about clearing out of campus, we now understand the President of the United States is clearing out his entire schedule right now. Let's get straight back to the White House. Our Chief White House Correspondent, Mary Bruce. What are you hearing from the President, Mary?
Well, Kira, as we've been mentioning, the President has a deeply close personal relationship with Charlie Kirk, and he is personally monitoring this. Sources tell us that he is clearing his schedule for the rest of the day. He was supposed to be having a dinner here at the White House in the Rose Garden later. A closed press dinner that has, we understand, now been postponed, so the President can solely focus on this situation. The President has taken to social media, as we mentioned, describing Charlie Kirk as a great guy from top to bottom. We've seen this huge outpouring of support from leaders in this administration. The Vice President calling him a genuinely good guy, posting a photo, a recent picture of him with Charlie Kirk and the President's son. These relationships run deep, and he is a powerful force for this administration as well. He's been described as Trump's youth whisperer. He is tapped in to this important base for the President, becoming, not just an influencer, but a rising star in the party and someone who has really, driven a lot of support to this administration. He's also deeply loyal to the President and someone who the President turns to for advice. He turned to him to help him vetting some appointees early on in this administration. The President trusts him. This is not just, a relationship of solely political convenience. He has been seen here at the White House in recent weeks and months, and of course he is a fixture out on college campuses as he does these tours and these events, always leaning into debating whatever is the latest and, yes, oftentimes controversial topics.
And now we're hearing Mary from Kamala Harris tweeting, "I'm deeply disturbed by the shooting in Utah. Doug and I send our prayers to Charlie Kirk and his family. Let me be clear, political violence has no place in America. I condemn this act, and we all must work together to ensure this does not lead to more violence." I do want to get to eyewitness Chase Hughes joining us by phone now. Chase, I understand you work for the student newspaper, the UVW Review, there on campus. Let's begin. I do want to talk about an article that ran in your newspaper prior to Charlie Kirk arriving there on campus. But can you tell us where you were, what you saw, what you heard? All the details, Chase.
Yes, real quick, just so I can say it now, it's UVU Review, a student-run newspaper. We were there, we were shooting content for it. We had Logan here with us today. He was actually on the far side of the courtyard with a straight shot at Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I was looking at him through my camera, filming from a balcony above. And so I walked around, and the atmosphere, there was a lot of people there, a lot of conservatives, a lot of liberals. Up and to the right of where he was at was kind of a crowd of them, and they had an LGBTQ flag, they had a sign that said Jesus was an immigrant, and they were very, they kind of were going back and forth, and Charlie made a couple jokes to them, and they kind of would boo when he was saying things. The first person came out, had their questions like normal, went away, and then the second person came out. I was above him, and to the right. And Logan was crossing him and standing there as the person was asking questions, which I believe had to do with shooting. So the second person who was asking questions was actually asking questions related to shooting, and they were bringing up transgender shooting gangs and things like that. And in the middle of his question, right when Kirk reached over to grab the mic, that's when he was shot. You heard a big firecracker noise. I mean, I've heard gunshots before, but this was, it felt like it rang in the courtyard as the shot came through. Everyone immediately started screaming. The security guard Charlie grabbed him, pulled him down. They ran back. People started fleeing. The people on the top of the balcony, the liberal students and some conservative students started yelling at each other. I don't believe any sort of fighting happened, but some yelling there, and then everyone just fled the campus and halls were cleared. We saw two Army soldiers pass us with guns on the way towards the middle of the campus where we were at in our newsroom.
So Chase and Logan, stay with me. I have a few more questions for you. Either one of you can answer this. Do you have any idea where that gunshot came from? Was it far back? Was it up close?
It was 200 feet away.
Did it look like it was from the middle of the crowd? Any details about where you heard that shot come from?
Well, I can tell you based off of what we heard, and we do have video of him being shot, and we have that certainly. We believe it probably came from how do I describe it? He's on the west side in the courtyard, and it would probably come from east. I would step up above the balcony, but I would say even further back, close to where I was. Really? That's where it sounded like. I heard it from behind when it came. So maybe 100 feet back? Yeah, something like that.
And just to put let me ask you this, Logan, do you also work for the paper or just you, Chase?
No, I also work for the paper. I was filming footage from the balcony when this occurred.
Okay, got it. So Chase Hughes, Logan Toblin both work for the UVU Review, the student newspaper there at Utah Valley University. If you don't mind telling me about the article that actually was printed in the paper about the debate that was going on about Charlie Kirk even coming to your campus. Can you tell me about the divided opinion that was apparently relevant here on campus when students like both of you found out Charlie Kirk was coming here, that the American Comeback Tour was coming to your campus, and then this petition that started circulating online. Just give us a sense as we now look at the aftermath here on your campus. Clearly, it's been all cleared out. Campus is on lockdown. Classes have been canceled. But as we look into this courtyard where Charlie Kirk was talking, can you tell me about this divided opinion about Charlie coming and speaking here on your campus?
I can make this really easy for you. The reporter who actually wrote the article you're referring to is coming right here. So his name is Tim Larson.
Okay.
If you want to give an answer to that question, I apologize. You gotta run and get him. He can give you a better answer.
Sure. I can talk to either you or Logan while you grab Tim, the one who wrote the article. Tim, is Tim okay talking with me?
Yep, I'm good to talk.
Okay, Tim, I appreciate that. You wrote the article about the division that was taking place on your campus. There were students that wanted to hear from Charlie Kirk. There were clearly students that did not want to hear from Charlie Kirk. Can you describe to me the students that you talked to on both sides, what the feelings were, and just give us kind of an idea of just the tension before the shooting actually took place?
Yeah, so I was inside the building when it actually happened, but during writing the article beforehand, we wanted to put a lot of emphasis on trying to be as neutral as possible because it's a very divisive subject, right? We wanted to be as neutral as possible, get both sides as much as possible. And then when we were covering it there at the event, I went around and I was interviewing people. And some people were mixed on their opinions and emotions. Others were very in favor of speaking. Others, I think, felt that he was kind of a divisive speaker and weren't exceptionally happy to see him on campus. But I think there was definitely a broad range of emotion there in the crowd.
Tim, Logan, Chase, all members of the student newspaper there, the UVU Review on Utah Valley University's campus. Appreciate your reporting, appreciate you adding balance and giving us an idea of where students were coming from and those that were in support of Charlie Kirk coming and those that were not. Clearly, that tension combined with gunfire, one shot ringing out and taking Charlie Kirk down, who now, according to his organization, is in the hospital after attending that debate as part of his American Comeback Tour on campus. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas has been talking with the FBI, the ATF, local police. Can you bring us any new information on who this suspect may be, a motive, anything, Pierre?
Kara, this is a pregnant
The motive was he was a right-wing idiot
waiting desperately for an update on Mr. Kirk's condition. They're all extremely concerned about it. They're all doing an assessment of the threat environment. And officials are talking to me privately about this being a highly unusual period of time, perhaps unprecedented in modern history, recent history anyway. And they're talking about just a spate of incidents, and I'm not going to give them in any particular order, but we've had 2 assassination attempts against President Trump, a terror attack on New Year's Day in New Orleans. Minnesota State legislators, the focus of a fatal shooting in the state of Minnesota. A fertility clinic in California bombed. Arson of the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania. A shooting at the CDC where the CDC headquarters sprayed with bullets. 2 Israeli embassy staff members assassinated in Washington, D.C. Those incidents have all happened in the last 12 months or so, many of them in the last 6 months. So this moment, where neither the left nor the right is being spared in terms of being the target of this politically motivated violence is one that has the complete attention of law enforcement officials and state and local
Christian school shooting,
federal as well. And the question is what to do about it. We are now hearing from people saying we're going to have to reassess outdoor events involving controversial figures, political figures. So this moment right now, we're all waiting on his condition. Law enforcement, federal officials, all of political Washington, if you will, now having to reassess another day involving violence in this country, perhaps potentially politically motivated.
Pierre, thank you. And
potentially, no, it was
correspondent. We should
politically
point out that while we are hearing from so many Republicans, from the President of the United States to the Vice President to the Attorney General, we are also hearing from people like Kamala Harris. Both sides of the aisle condemning violence like this. Kamala Harris saying, I'm deeply disturbed by the shooting in Utah. Doug and I send our prayers to Charlie Kirk and his family. Let me be clear, political violence has no place in America. I condemn this act, and we all must work together to ensure this does not lead to more violence. And that is the biggest concern, clearly, in our country right now, Mary. As here just laid out the various attacks from the president and now Charlie Kirk,
stabs a Ukrainian refugee on a train.
Now one gunshot hitting Charlie Kirk, possibly in the neck. He's in the hospital. We don't know his condition, but it brings us to a much wider discussion about political violence taking place in our country.
And Karen, we are hearing these condemnations of political violence coming from both sides of the aisle. You mentioned Kamala Harris, also Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries echoing the same sentiment. California Governor Gavin Newsom, who appeared not that long ago on Charlie Kirk's podcast, describing this as disgusting, vile, and reprehensible. Of course, we don't know yet what may have motivated this shooter. We've been talking a lot about Charlie Kirk.
You don't know what motivated him?
That everyone can agree on
you know what
motivated for this kind of violence. Yet, as Pierre outlined there, it is a reality.
He was some left-wing lunatic.
Certainly something that President Trump knows all too well, given the assassination attempt against his own life. We know that the president is personally monitoring this. It's clear his schedule for the day. This is, as we have been saying, an administration that is personally deeply close to Charlie Kirk. There's a sense of shock and sadness here as everyone here tries to just comprehend what has happened and what this means. Charlie Kirk goes beyond just being a political ally and a loyal supporter of this president. He is close to this administration. He is someone who the president turns to. He is someone who the president has asked to help him vet appointees when he first came back into office earlier this year. He is someone who